Okay.
Is the stream set up?
I'm just waiting to make sure it's going to take. I apologize. I had some work done on my computer yesterday. It's taking it just a moment. Um, all right. I believe it's up and running. And Robin, if you could please double check that for me, I would appreciate it. It should be live now.
Check it and chat you.
Okay, thank you.
Good. It is October 29th at 10 a.m. and this meeting of the Arizona Oil and Gas Conservation Commission's public work session is
Frank, I'm having a difficulty hearing you.
I'll speak up. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, thank you. It is Wednesday, October 29th, 2025, and this working session of the Arizona Oil and Gas Conservation Commission has come to order. The next step is to take roll call. Vice Chair Nations, are you here?
I'm here.
Commissioner Firebrand, are you here?
Here.
Commissioner Conway, are you here? Commissioner Conway, is Commissioner Conway with us?
I am. I'm right here.
Thank you. Commissioner Ballard, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Do we have somebody from the Land Department?
David Haig from the Arizona State Land Department.
David, and who do we have from the AG's office?
Taylor Parmenter, Attorney General's office.
Thank you. We're going to start off with a call to the public. Since it's a working session, members of the public may address the Arizona Oil and Gas Conservation Commission during the call to the public. In the interest of maintaining an orderly meeting, comments shall not exceed 3 minutes per speaker. For any specific issue, the total comment period shall not exceed 10 minutes per side. If a member of the public wishes to speak, they may unmute their telephones by pressing *6. Is there anybody in the public that would like to address the council, the commission? Hearing none, we will move on to the item 3 on the agenda, discussion regarding possible changes to the Arizona Oil and Gas Conservation Commission's regulations. Commissioner Ballard, would you take the lead on this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, one more go through. I think we've seen a lot of these before, but I want to make sure the commission sees all the substantive changes. And a lot of them were just down to word changes. I just got spotted a couple where we said the commission will meet, and then there's a notify and meet. I mean, and little things like that are going to keep coming up. But I think we can deal with the substantive changes. The first one we probably want to look at is 101, if that's at the top. And what that is merely a set of definitions. That's nothing had been changed to this before, but we found the need in several rules to move definitions out of the text of the specific rule, and this is the place you're supposed to move them. So I found a need to add a definition of artificial stimulation. Definition of completed well was actually in statute, but it seemed like it would be a convenience to have it here. So this is exactly verbatim out of statute. And then I know that you're not all up to date on this issue, but I had to add back in a definition of unproven territory. It's not going to go away, unfortunately. So those we may want to come back to at the end, because you'll see where these were moved into here from elsewhere. Without context, it's hard to know really what was done. So maybe we'll approve or take one final look at this after I show you the changes that were made to the individual rules. So I think we can slide on down to I guess it should be 107. Yeah, 107. So here's one of those places where we just took the definitions out. Like I say, some of them were not needed, are already in rules. Several, one, gas well, geothermal well, oil well. These were already all defined in rules. And the one thing that we really needed here is a drilling unit, and I even found that one. That one's also in rules. So actually, none of these needed to be moved over to 101. They all already exist as definitions. So the one other thing that had
Excuse
come
me,
up.
Commissioner Ballard, can you make the screen a little bit bigger? Maybe Angela there. That looks a bit better. Can everybody see that better now?
That's better.
Okay, great.
Good.
Sorry to interrupt,
No,
Commissioner.
no, of course, Mr. Chairman. As you see, all that's happened is everything's gotten crossed out. So it's not too detailed. But if you do scroll down, there was one other little surprise, which I haven't talked to you about before, a little farther, all the way down to number 5. Yeah, the commission may grant an exception location without notice or hearing when topography prohibits drilling at a regular location on the drilling unit. We had, in the spirit of the open meeting laws, etc., suggested that we go ahead and do a notice and hearing for these kind of changes. But actually, this is specific language out of statute. We do have the right to do it without notice and hearing, and that's why we want to change the statute. And then I suppose we could introduce a sense of the commission that we would want to have notice and hearing on this, but I think that might be working too hard. This is meant to be a minor change. Someone comes up to you after they've been granted a location and tell you they found a great big little a canyon or something that they didn't expect, and they want to move 100 feet or something like that. This isn't supposed to be a profound change like involving the definition of the drilling. Our spacing exceptions. So I think within the understanding that's the context, we just leave it alone. That's my recommendation anyway. And
Uh, I have a comment to move back up to D. Item D. There was misspelling of artificial somewhere in here. One word. D.
Artificial, huh? I could search for it.
Yeah, I searched for it. I think it just has an extra A in it, just at one point. I don't see it. I don't see it now.
Well, we can change that. Just do one more spelling check on that afterwards. So.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll do it. I don't seem to be coming up with it, but we'll be doing spell checks on all these, as Mr. Chairman pointed
Right.
out.
Commissioner Ballard, can you go back to geothermal for a moment?
The definition of geothermal?
Yes.
This is Angela Kane. Are you talking about here where it's crossed out or in 101?
In 101.
Okay, thank you. Hello.
Should be.
It should be on this page that's not rendering.
Oh,
Give me 1 second. Let me see if my other PDF is working properly. I have a backup.
excellent.
Okay. Here, let me zoom back in. Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe
Okay.
there is
Mm.
here a definition of geothermal. You know how the rules are kind of split with geothermal having been added. There's almost kind of a parallel set of rules. So the definition of geothermal appears in the geothermal rules, so to speak. Not 101, I don't believe.
I'm not sure, why I was asking that, we have the hot rocks where we're pumping water down and creating steam, but we also cover geothermal ground loop systems and open loop systems. And I think there needs to be something in there with respect to that. Because there's two different kinds of, three different really kinds of geothermal that we cover.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think this section was the, it's not the only time that geothermal is talked about. We have in other rules, the three big rules, I think, basically on geothermal wells. And the definition in that rule was not, something we were working on. It would be a new rule to be modified. Although we could move a definition over here. I'd have to double check. I don't think there's anything in statute. So as long as we were consistent with what the rule was over in that other, but if we change it in substance, I think you might have to edit that other rule as well.
Well, we have are we covering the ground loop and open loop systems in our definitions?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, in the geothermal rules.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't undertaken to review the geothermal rules specifically. So I'd have to check.
Okay. I think we should put that into this package. Sorry to make a last moment
Okay,
recommendation.
well, yeah, we can look at it both ways. We can just change it there and include this in part of the package, or like I say, we could put a slightly different definition here than there, as long as they weren't incompatible. I don't think there's any reference to statutes.
Right.
This is Commissioner Nations.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I have a comment on item C1. Other objectives other than the Coconino sandstone. That should also include the Shinnerup conglomerate. They're both shallow.
Sorry that you missed it. I think you were out for the detailed discussion on this. So yeah, this might be new to you, but what the context, what we were talking about was, the default spacing for gas is 640 acres. And the only other spacing that the rules talk about is 40 acres, even though there's plenty of phrases in there, of course, where we can make other appropriate spacing units. And so the context is if someone's drilling, in the western part of the basin where the coconine is at the surface, it's not an objective. If they want to drill on 160 acres instead of 640 acres, this would be for like the newer drilling down in the Devonian Mississippian section. 160 acres is probably very appropriate. 640 acres has probably only been established for the Coconino as having a reservoir good enough to produce from 640 acres one well. The Shinnerup, it went the other way. The commission more or less authorized over a broad area that it be drilled for 40 acres, even though it's gas. So it's actually an example of Section A, where I thought it would be a good idea to put that in there, that we're doing that kind of thing, that we have established over certain areas for certain formations, spacing units other than the standard, which for gas, of course, would be 640 acres. And if they're going to do the same thing, they can just apply as to the modified rules that we've already established. They don't have to go through a spacing hearing. So I think, yeah, there was a lot of discussion when we passed this last time, Dale. Does that answer your question, Commissioner Nations?
No, I kind of got lost in all that, but the same point I wanted to make was that for that 40-acre spacing, they should cover the Shinnerup conglomerate as well as the Coconino sandstone.
Well, the Coconino is at 640, not at 40.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead, Commissioner Ballard.
Okay, well, I didn't know that. I've talked about the changes that we've made to this rule. Do you want the commission to vote on these remaining rules? We voted on the other ones individually before, and do you want to continue that pattern and approve this one before we go to the next?
Yes, commissioners, do you have any other comments or changes you want to make in this?
Oh, I have one more question I have, just for clarification. And I may have missed it in the previous meeting, which I missed. Are the changes of high volume for injection for uh, well stimulation? Is that deleted? The term high volume everywhere?
That's a different rule, and we'll get to it in a minute. But I like your thinking. We have done that. We have eliminated that, and I'll show that rule in a minute.
Yeah, and then a volume is misspelled unless
Oh,
it's
we're doing more than that. We're taking the whole idea of high volume out.
yeah.
So we would be voting on just this one section, which section are we voting on here?
This is R127107 spacing.
Does anybody have any changes to this section only? Or any other comments? Do I have a motion to accept this?
This is Mike Conway, so moved.
I'll second. Commissioner Nations.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion carries. It is approved. Let's move on to the next piece.
Okay, so this is the one you were asking about, Dale. This is artificial stimulation, and we made some big changes before, and then really we had some remaining changes here in mind. Once again, we were planning to get rid of the definitions. So that's I showed you very early on, but I came up with a new definition of artificial stimulation, referring to a couple standard textbooks or API's website actually, and was able to substitute a much shorter definition than this. This is almost a speech. It's they're trying to clarify, that artificial stimulation includes many things, but includes hydraulic fracturing, and then almost the entire regulation from there goes on to discuss in detail the planning, the hearings, and the reports that are necessary for an artificial stimulation. So it really wasn't that needed to put in all this detail to stress the case that hydraulic fracturing is part of artificial stimulation. Artificial stimulation is not injection. It's not workovers. It's not. There's a lot of negative definitions, which are very difficult when those terms like a workover is not really actually defined, and it's not really common language. So it was easiest to take almost all this out and just substitute it with a simple definition of stimulation, saying that stimulation includes hydraulic fracturing, and that's up in 101. The other big thing we did and approved last time was, as Commissioner Nations pointed out, this is where they had that high volume case versus low volume, and the implication was that only high volume hydraulic fracturing jobs were worth all this detailed regulation, and the commission decided that all hydraulic fracturing jobs are worth this much regulation. So we just took that out as a concept. So all hydraulic fracturing will be subject to this series of rules. And one other thing that if we scroll down, there's one other little issue all the way near the bottom. Yeah, and we might be a little bit more to it. I don't know if you scroll a little bit farther. We were approving this language, which came out of Texas, I'm pretty sure. The registering of the chemical components and additives for hydraulic fracturing fluid. And there's actually this big website that everybody uses. I really didn't know about it. Canadians use it. All the AZOGCC affiliated states use it. And so it's a way of reporting, what the detailed composition of the frac fluids are. By the way, they're almost all water, and the most common additive is salt, but there's lots of other little odd chemicals. Some of them are proprietary. Some service companies think they have, this special formula, and that's secret. So I think it was Chairman Thorvald's suggestion that we add some language in there to address the fact that some of the additives may be, in fact, trade secrets, even under applicable Arizona law. So this was added with the help of the AG's office and another little investigation into Texas regulations. And like I say, it would just say basically that if a component that our operator's contractor needs to report to this website, if it has a trade secret in it, that's okay as long as it meets Arizona statutes criteria for a trade secret.
Commissioners, any comments, discussion on these items?
And I will add, I see that this version of the addition was before we filled out that one critical component of what the Arizona statute would be. And I think the exact language that we use, it's different from here, but if you just hear it verbally, to the extent that fluids and chemical additives are entitled to protection as trade secrets, such information shall be kept confidential to the extent permitted under Arizona Revised Statutes Title 27. So that came straight from Taylor, and I think it takes care of the point that Commissioner Thorvald was worried about, Chairman Thorvald.
I think that we should include that in here.
Okay, so for this one, yeah, I know it's a little odd, but I would like you to approve the changes made in this rule, including the verbal version of this, which introduced, Title 27. I will make that change, of course, right away.
One other quick note, if I recall, the high volume, given the amount of hydraulic fracturing that had been done in Arizona, if we just left it at high volume, nothing would have been covered at all because there is no high volume here. Wasn't that part of that?
That's correct, and I have a table that illustrates that if it's ever needed. Uh, uh, Commissioner Conway and I took a look at the most recent frac jobs that have been done in Arizona. Usually it's the most recent ones that are the largest because the technology is involved in that direction. But look at several of them going back over the years, and they're very small compared to the 7,500. And I think I commented at the time, there's really no probably likelihood that ever anything that big would be done in Arizona, except perhaps if a geothermal project really came to fruition, that might. But of course, these regulations still cover those larger jobs. But yes, we need to get rid of high volume, or everything that's been done in Arizona, or probably likely to be done in Arizona, wouldn't actually be regulated by these rules.
Do we have a motion on this item? Do we have a motion to approve this item, including the verbal additions as modified?
This is Commissioner Nations. I move for that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Let's move on to the next item.
Okay, well, if we scroll down, we'll get to Rule 121. Yeah, it should be next. Okay, so this is the last of the set for the IOGC suggested modifications. And I don't think this one actually has come up for detailed discussion before the commission. It's always been the last one. But what we've done is once again remove excess definitions. In actuality, well completion was actually defined in statute, section 501. And so just for convenience, I think I moved that over in exact wording duplicate into this, our 127101, which we'll take a second look at in a minute. But all these others, these original completion, recompletion, it's not really referred to that often in the rule itself, except actually the first preamble kind of thing. And it's probably unnecessary detail. Because what we're really talking about is that any completion, even if it's the well isn't really even finished by our normal standards, it's just left for 60 days. The various kinds of recompletion work that can be done, after the fact, later on, all these things require completion reports. And that's just kind of a simple statement, and it isn't really necessary to elaborate too much, because what you want to elaborate on is what is necessary to report as part of the completion reports, because it's quite lengthy. This is where it's not just the form. They are required to, submit the logs, submit the casing, the chips, the samples, and many other things, the testing and such as that. So this does a great job. It's almost all new text. We didn't have much in here before, and they do a good job of describing all the material that needs to be delivered. The one big issue here, which we have talked about briefly now that I see it, was, of course, the confidentiality of completion reports. And I think it was a sense of the commission that we don't mind them having longer periods of confidentiality. A lot of the operators have wanted that, and it doesn't seem to be unreasonable. But what we unfortunately found, with the help of the AG's office, is that this rule is almost verbatim in statute. So it's like we can't get rid of the term unproven territory, even though it's not clearly defined in statute or anywhere. We would go ahead and provide a definition of it, but we can't get rid of it. And we also couldn't get rid of the commission shall provide notice of 60 days before they're released. I guess most of us felt that the operator, they're the ones that care about their logs and their confidentiality. They should be the one keeping track of the calendar as to when that date might be. But once again, it's in statute. And we also wanted to do a 4-year instead of a 2-year confidentiality extension if the commission was asked. And once again, that's in statute. That's just for 2 years. So we were able to do very little with this. I was able to add a modified form of the requirement. We want all of the reports and the information from the completion report, filed with the commission in a timely manner. And that's kind of difficult. The way it was phrased before was kind of a parallel requirement. And under the statute, there is only the requirement that it's in unproven territory. So basically all we did was say that all filing requirements listed in this section for the well must be available to the commission to provide credible evidence, which is the criteria for awarding now the 2-year extension of confidentiality. So trying to put a little pressure on there to get their reports and their files in, because the commission needs that information in order to establish their claim of confidentiality to be extended for 2 more years.
Commissioner Ballard, this is Chairman Thorwald. What happens if they get started but they don't do a completion as defined there?
Well, if rather, completion sounds like something that should be done, but in truth, if you simply stop after 60 days, you have to report the state of the well, the completion at that time, which is really, it can be more thought of as the state of the well. So oftentimes operators will drill several wells. They get one rig that can do it, and they drill several wells, and they haven't really done the detailed completion work to turn the well into a producer. We have some wells outstanding like that now. As far as the reports and the language of the rules are concerned, once they've stopped and don't get back on it for 60 days, they owe us what's kind of like an interim completion report, if you want to think of it that way. It's called a completion report. It's just the status of the well at that time. And we could, of course, impose some requirements on them as far as getting work done. But that's the way the regulations stand, is that whatever status the well is at, a completion report just documents that. It's not necessarily completed as in the sense of being finished.
Commissioners, do you have any comments, discussion on this? Changes?
This is Commissioner Nations. I may have not understood, Jim, why the 4-year, we authorized a 4-year extension possibilities for confidentiality. Now, that apparently is not acceptable.
Yes, Commissioner Nations, this is Commissioner Ballard. We tried, but the 2 years is actually in statute.
Okay.
It's too bad that they were that specific. So we'd have to get, legislative change to that statute in order to give them 4
I
years.
see. All right, thank you. This is Commissioner Nations. I move to approve this as amended.
Do we have a second?
Robin, second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries.
Okay, well, we've made good progress. We've gone quickly. We probably should go all the way back up to the top just for a minute and revisit. Here we are. These definitions. So out of a fairly lengthy lecture almost on what artificial stimulation and fracking was in the original rule, we pulled all that out. But since it's the title of a rule, we needed to at least have a basic definition of artificial stimulation. It's not in statute or any place I could find it. So everybody read through this. Does it make sense? The definitions here are supposed to be pretty straightforward and simple. There's some guidance somewhere on that fact. So I wanted to come up with something pretty simple. And of course, if you don't know the details, artificial stimulation includes less invasive procedures than hydraulic fracturing. If you put a little acid down at the bottom, push it in to just clean up right around the wellbore. Other kinds of additives can be used in other than acid. These things are fairly minor compared to hydraulic fracturing, where of course you actually use enough pressure to fracture the rocks. So the real point was just that artificial stimulation includes several treatments. We're only really detailing in the regulation, in the rule, procedures to be followed in the case of artificial stimulation.
Other than the one comment that I had, this is Chairman Thorwald, the other comment about geothermal, having definitions about that in there, I'm fine with this.
Okay, I'll definitely look into that. Anybody else have any suggestions? The second one, like I say, completed well rather. That ended up being in statute. It's in 27.501. I'll probably eliminate that little reference to it because I guess none of the other definitions have anything like that. But it is verbatim out of statute. I might have said it a little different, but I think it covers all the bases.
Commissioners, discussion on this.
Commissioner Nations, I have one more question.
Go ahead, Commissioner Nation.
And again, it may be that it was clarified, but I missed it. Are we going to delete this reference to high volume
Yes.
stimulation.
Yep, it's gone.
Yeah, and so therefore, no need to change the spelling of that term,
Okay.
volume. Okay,
And then there's one more, a little, if you scroll just a little bit farther down, we had to add in a definition for unproven territory. So, I think originally what they were really trying to get at is, of course, a more modern term for the classification of wells. We have exploration wells, we have delineation wells, and we have production wells. If they'd used the term exploration well, it would, been much more acceptable. But I think our intention was to include as many wells as possible the in the category where they automatically get a year's confidentiality. That's what we were intending, is to extend the opportunities for confidentiality. So I have really kind of defined this as narrowly as possible, to only really say that everything is unproven except an actual development well. In other words, there's a little element of risk, and of course the exploration wells are high risk. Everything outside of an established field can be considered unproven territory, which I think is correct. It's biasing the definition a little bit toward the conservative side. And of course, the other name for a field, of course, is a pool. So a pool is a defined term within the rules, and of course, it just basically in your mind it's a discovered accumulation of gas that already has boundaries. And if you're drilling another well in that pool, it really can't be considered unproven territory. But anything outside of it, you really can make the case that anything outside of that is unproven. So this is what I thought we'd go with.
Commissioners, your thoughts, discussion, comments? Hearing none, do we have a motion? In fact, do we need a motion on this? We already voted.
we had already done that.
That's what I thought.
No, I think we skipped this one.
Did we skip
So
this
I'll go
one?
ahead. I move that the commission accept the changes to the language in R12-7101.
Do we have a second?
This is Mike Conway. I second.
Go ahead.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. It's approved. Commissioner Ballard, can you put this into a form, to a letter that we can send, prepare for a request from the governor's office on these items?
Yes, I may have to check on some of the formats that they want, but I've tried to maintain. We have a fairly clean copy of the rules, and we'll have to redo those at the end. I believe what they want is something similar to what we've been showing today, with the changes from the existing rule, highlighted or underlined.
That is correct, and it will need to be that way for Kirk as well. So we need approval to take it to Kirk.
So I can make a set of these. I'll run a spell check or something for as Commissioner Nation suggested, and I think, and there are still a few more little corrections coming in. I think you showed me some this morning, Frank. A lot of little word changes and double checking for references to statute numbers and things like that. I don't think they're going to be substantive. There may be some small word changes. So whether that requires a final approval of the commission or not, that's up to you. I'll put together.
Let's do the final approval at our next meeting of everything with the letter, with what needs to go, the explanation of why, and so forth.
Okay, well, you'll have to help me with that since I'm sure you've done them before, and it should be just kind of a standard item, I would imagine.
Okay, so we could put that onto our next meeting agenda. And if you could go back and look at that geothermal piece as a separate one too.
Okay, yeah, that's like I say, that might be a little more substantive change, but I don't know if that needs to be approved or not by the commission. It sounds like everybody wants to do it.
Council, commissioners, is there anything else that we need to do related to this before our next meeting, regular meeting? Does not appear so. Then our last, have I missed anything? Our last one is for adjournment. I think we are completed. It is 10:41 a.m. and this meeting of the Arizona Oil and Gas Conservation Commission is concluded. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
Goodbye.